Okay, so as I was saying, you're going to be working a LERC chart as part of your homework. So we thought that we would do one more, and I asked Tara this morning if it would be okay, since she was going to tell you a little bit about her story, if it would be okay if we did a LERC chart based upon some of what she shared with us. So Tara, what was one of the things that, I mean, you mentioned a lot of them, but what's an activating event that we could work through?
Would be the baseball games.
Oh, the other parents?
Yeah.
Are they parents or friends? Or what are they?
Yeah, parents of the other players.
Friends that are parents, okay. So what are the facts? What would I observe if I was there just watching? What would I observe?
You'd observe all the parents sitting on bleachers and chairs and stuff, and
are they visiting?
yeah, everybody's visiting.
Okay, here's the truth, because it's about to happen. And forgive me, I know that there are teachers in this room, so forgive me for what I'm about to say, but spelling in life does not matter. So if you can grammatically say it, we're just gonna go with it, okay?
Get up.
I don't know, visiting. I don't know. Parents visiting on bleachers. And are you participating, Tara, in the visiting?
Probably not.
Probably not, okay.
Okay.
So when you see them all being friendly with one another, they're talking and having a good time, how did you respond to that? What did you do?
I usually isolated. I would like sit somewhere else.
Okay. And when that would happen, when you would kind of move away and isolate yourself, how are you feeling? What were your feelings?
Like left out and rejected.
Okay.
Sad.
Okay, so let's go to the feeling wheel. Rejected's a good word. Let's go to, do you have the feeling? You don't have your wheel. Okay, yeah, will you share? Go to, I think it's on page 60, what?
I'm looking at it.
What page is that, Erin? 62, thank you. Go to page 62. So give me an emotion for when you say I felt left out, what's the emotion that you felt there?
Inferior.
Inferior. Okay, rejected, you felt inferior. Okay. And what was it that you believed?
That I wasn't worthy of being a friend.
Good. That is your homework. That's all you have to do. Now, Tara and I are gonna go ahead and play this one out. Because in a renewed mind, the activating event can be exactly the same. Doesn't change, right? So, what was the renewed belief system?
I'm a friendly person
Mm-hmm.
and I'm likable.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. You are.
Extremely interesting.
And I'm going to tell you that there's some maturity in her understanding this, because what is it that God says about you, Tara?
That I'm loved and
Yes.
special.
Yes. He finds you interesting. He finds you likable. And so, when I say there's maturity, it is when you can start to believe, see, want to say this. The maturation process in Jesus is that when we start to believe his truth, sometimes we just have to hang on to his truth, but then we start to really see it in ourselves. So she's describing what she sees in herself, and that is the truth. If you know Tara, that is the truth. And so if you believe this, then when you see parents visiting the bleachers, how do you feel? Oh, she's looking at the wheel. I love that. I love that she's looking at the wheel.
Valuable?
Valuable, yeah.
And worthwhile?
Uh-huh. And when you feel that way, Tara, what do? You see parents sitting on a bleacher, and what do you do?
I join them.
Join them. Okay. So I want to talk to you about a little bit about emotions. These things right here is what you feel very personally. And the same activating event, all of us can be exposed to the same activating event. Some of us may even behave the same way. But how we feel about it and what we believe about it are usually very personal. So let me give you an example of what I mean. I was working with a couple, and we were talking. Well, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. We were working on the practicing forgiveness, but I said to the woman, "Well, when you did that, how do you think that made him feel?" And she said, "Well, I think that made him feel," because she was going to ask him to forgive her. And she said, "Well, I think the situation was that he called her and said, 'Will you pick up my daughter?'" They were getting married. These two were getting married. And so he had a daughter from her. So he just said, "Will you pick her up?" And she sighed. So she wanted to ask him. We were just learning about forgiveness is all we were really doing. So she was going to ask him to forgive her. And I said, "Well, how do you think it made him feel? When you sighed, how did that make him feel?" And she said, "Well, I think that made him feel like he was an inconvenience." He said, I looked at him, "Is that how you felt?" "No, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like an inconvenience." And she said, "Well, how did you feel?" And he thought about it for a minute, and he said, "I felt like a burden." Okay, so to me, the difference between an inconvenience and a burden is like, tiny. It doesn't, I don't see a lot of difference, but to him, the difference between an inconvenience and a burden was that big. So it's really important that he named his feeling. So, if you guys get to talking amongst yourselves, or you're talking with other people about their feelings, them naming their feelings is really important. And that's why that feeling wheel is so helpful, for you to be able to be very specific about the way. Because if you were in this situation, parents were visiting on the bleachers, and you reacted by feeling isolated or someone else, Tara felt inferior and rejected. But that may not be the way that somebody else feels. So it's just real important to think about how you felt. Okay, so your homework is on page 66, and these are the questions that you're going to ask yourselves. You're just going to do this top portion. So, A, what exactly happened? And again, this is real important that you challenge yourself to take all of your perceptions out of it. It's just going to be, what are the facts? What would somebody else see? Then you might go to 2, how did you react, or what did you do? Maybe you go to 3 next. It doesn't really, the order doesn't really matter. But what is it that you did? What was your behavior? How did I feel? Which is your consequential feelings. And then what was it that you were believing? And this, challenge yourself to ask this question. It's not applicable in all situations, but challenge yourself. what was I believing about myself? You know, that might be helpful. And then number 5, is there any time in my life I felt like this before? So that's like extra credit if you get there. So Tara, is there any time in your life that you felt rejected and inferior? What's your first memory of that?
I was kind of talking about that, like when my dad quit touching me and playing with me and stuff like that, that was a rejection.
Yes.
And then also, my mom was always there giving us love and everything. When she went to work, she was never there anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
so there was really nothing.
So when you go back to where is this, that's when remember when we talk about the renewing of the mind, it's looking where the roots are and who to forgive. So my suspicion is that Tara, you had an opportunity to forgive your parents. Yeah. And because you got to go back to where identity, sort of gets changed and shifted. Steps, if you don't get to step 4, don't stress yourself out. Don't stress about it. And for sure, if you don't get to step 5, don't stress about it. That is something that your ministry leader can help you with, if you would like. See, here's the thing, guys. You've gone through your ministry, but there may be more revelation that you have, and we are here for you to do that with you. This is where I strongly suggest that you go to somebody that has been trained in how, in this model. I'll say it that way. Because if you go to somebody that's just a great buddy, what is likely to maybe happen? What do your friends want to do for you? Solve it, fix it. Your friends love your family, they love you. They want you to not worry about stuff. They don't want you to feel sad. They want you to feel great. And so I just really recommend that if you've got something that you're struggling with, get somebody here that is trained in how to do that. And that doesn't matter whether that is tomorrow or that is next year or the following year or whatever. We are here to help you. We do it for each other. I mean, we really do. We still, once you go through, you don't get all healed up. I mean, I've had ministry. I mean, I've had some of the most powerful ministry in my life after I was teaching Oaks, So it's, God just kind of, we're not done until we're home, God stops working on us when we're there, when we're with Him. Oh, I don't know, maybe He still works on us then. I shouldn't say that. I just know in this lifetime. Okay, so here's what your friends can do for you. Do you remember this Johari window? So Dr. Bruce talked about this. And area 1 are the things that we know about ourselves. It's known to self and it's known to others. And area 2 are what others know about us through observation, but we may be blind to. Right? This may be the hardest thing that I'm going to say to you today. I mean, for you to receive. Just brace yourself. The people that you have been in conflict with may be shedding some light on an area. They may have some knowledge about area 2 that it might be helpful for you to do a LERC chart around. You don't have to go talk to them about it. You don't have to say anything to them. But sometimes there are things that we are blind to and that others might see. So if anybody's ever said to you, wow, you kind of overreacted to that, it might be something you want to learn. You might want to do a LERC chart around. Because the idea is that as others give us feedback, see, they don't have to sit you down and say, here, I'd like to give you some feedback. They give you feedback all the time, you know, in the way that they talk and what they say to you, you know, all that. So as others give us feedback, then that area 2 area starts to shift and it becomes smaller because now it becomes stuff we're willing to understand and helps us to relate to others. The idea is to grow area 1. The Holy Spirit, area 4, this area no one knows may be considered the deep unconscious. Well, here's who knows that is the Holy Spirit. So if you ask the Lord to show you, and He starts to bring revelation to you, area 4 starts to shrink and area 1 begins to grow. And when you start to feel safe, and you're able to speak your story and to speak what you're coming to know about us. I mean, I just revealed a whole bunch of stuff to you, right? I just speak it like, you know, oh yeah, we did that. But, and the reason why I can do that is because God's healed me of that. I've not always been that way. Because remember, I wouldn't allow you to know me. Because if you know me, you're going to reject me. But I'm so comfortable about that because my area 3 has diminished. Because as God has healed me, that area has started to shrink. So allow yourself, as you're thinking about what your activating event is, allow God to show you, or allow yourself to think about times where others might have said to you, you might be overreacting. Might be a little over the top. Your reaction might be a little over the top. Or when the offense, you know, somebody really did, there really was an offense, you know. Like if Aaron did something to hurt me, there really is an offense against me. But it might be like a 2, and I feel it at a 10. That might be something I might want to do a LERC chart around. Okay, any questions at all about what I want you to do for your homework? Do those. We're going to come back. You will not be required to share them, but we will work through some of them for those of you that would be willing to share. Or you get stuck, we'll work through those together on Friday. Yeah. I've got my days all mixed up. Okay, so let me pray for you guys, or pray for us, all of us. So Lord, I just